Hi, I'm Dr. Salamay, and what I want to do today is I want to talk to you about the top 3 natural treatments for fibromyalgia. So, number 1 is we want to focus on rewiring the brain. And what do we mean by that is fibromyalgia is a neurological disorder. It's a neuromuscular disorder. So it's not just the muscles, but it's the brain that controls the nervous system and has an effect ultimately on our muscles and our joints and so on. So what we want to do is we want to address the pattern or the wiring of the nervous system. You see, what happens with fibromyalgia is that the brainstem goes haywire. And that happens is that causes the circuits all to misfire, causing signals that go up from, basically that go from the brain all the way down into the rest of the body, especially our adrenal glands. These are these almond-shaped glands that sit right above the kidney. And that causes a huge influx of adrenaline to be released, as well as cortisol. And that causes, over time, it causes a sensitization of all our nerve fibers, and that causes us to be in pain. So readdressing that, addressing the pattern and the wiring of the nervous system is going to be extremely essential in order to combat or defeat fibromyalgia. So now how can we do that? So number 1 is, I always recommend is testing, whatever you do is, number 1 is testing the brain and testing the nervous system. And to be able to hone in and test and find out what's going on with the brain, what's going on with the nervous system, and how all of that, once you understand what is going on with the different parts of the nervous system and the lobes, then you can actually start to rewire it. Now, how do we do that? You could do this through brain-based therapies. You could do this through specific neurological chiropractic adjustments. And there are other types of therapies such as sound therapy, light therapy, all of these different therapies that can be very, very helpful for this chronic pain condition. So getting the brain to work better, even light exercise, can be extremely helpful and extremely essential in helping the brain work better and getting the brain to function better. So that's number 1. Number 1 is wiring the nervous system or rewiring it so it actually can learn the new pattern, the new healthy way, not the bad way or the bad programming. So other therapies that are also very effective is cranial therapy. Cranial therapy is also very effective, and we use that in our office to help with getting the cerebrospinal fluid circulating well within the area of the brain and the cranium, it boosts vitality. So that also is also effective. Reflexology also. Reflexology, especially, there are different points on the kidney. There are different points for the whole body, for the liver, and the musculoskeletal system that can be extremely beneficial to helping with the chronic pain. And even acupuncture. Acupuncture can also be effective at certain points. But the key is to really understand really what's going on in the nervous system and what's going on in the brain so that that can be addressed properly. So that's one of the things that is very effective, or one of the few things that is very effective for fibromyalgia. Now, another thing is we want to address and remove the triggers. So with the brain and such and the nervous system going haywire or malfunctioning, these things can be caused from a variety of different things. And wherever their triggers may have been, and usually what I find with fibromyalgia, it could have been a trauma, it could have been some emotional thing, but regardless, or it could have been just a bad diet and just bad lifestyle. So regardless of where the source took place or where it started from, you still want to address all of these, because what happens is, usually I've never seen a fibromyalgia patient that just got better by just doing one thing. So it's important to address foods, it's important to address toxins, it's important to address infections, and even address the emotional and psychological aspect of it. Because what happens is once that bad patterning happens and that sets off the pain pattern, anything can start triggering it. Whether you had a bad meal, whether you had something that was toxic or something that was just not clean, it wasn't organic, it wasn't natural, that can set off those pain fibers and result in that whole fibromyalgia cascade, the whole ache, the whole flare-up. So what we want to do is we still want to address all of these triggers, and there are different tests that you can do for each trigger. For instance, for foods or toxins that you can test for, heavy metals. There are different labs. There are different things that you can do to help address these things, to start identifying them first. So it's important always to first identify these things, and once you start identifying these things, then you can actually start treating them. So things that you can do for as far as treatment, of course, food sensitivities, the treatment for it is avoid the foods, and then take digestive enzymes, help support the digestive system of the body. Toxins, we want to detoxify, so we want to remove toxins, we want to remove things that we're consuming. So we want to eat foods that are natural. We want to eat foods that are organic because they're going to be minimally processed. So we want to make sure that we do that. We want to make sure that we take care of whatever chronic infections that may be. So there are different tests. There are tests for Lyme's disease. There are tests for different types of strains of bacteria or viruses that can cause the chronic pain or the fatigue or the fibromyalgia. So we want to, once we start addressing that, we can use immune support and supplementation. And there are different variety of different supplements that you can do, a variety of different things that I talk about in other videos for viruses, for bacteria, for parasites, for fungal. So these are things that we want to look at and we want to address. Another thing is that we want to also support, as we talked about earlier just a minute ago, we want to support the detoxification system of the body, because if we don't take care of the way our body detoxifies and removes toxins, we're going to always be burdened by these toxins. And it's enough as it is that we're in an environment today that we're already overtaxed and burdened by toxins. So whatever we can do to support detoxification, number one, we want to make sure that we're eliminating. So we weren't eliminating through the bowels. We want to make sure that we're eliminating through the skin. We want to make sure that our portal points, our exit points are working. So we want, if there's constipation, we want to make sure that we address the constipation. We want to make sure that we address whatever is not working properly. So number one, that's the key. Another thing is we want to also support the liver, because the liver is going to be your main detoxifier. So supporting the liver, things that you can do to support your liver. There are cruciferous vegetables that you can take. There are, for instance, like cabbage, beets are also, they're not cruciferous, but they help thin the bile, and they help movement, and they help allow for bile and toxins to be released out of the body. Another thing is the cruciferous vegetables such as the cabbage, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, all of these have really beneficial properties to help remove xenoestrogens, or these are estrogens that are synthetic estrogens that are in our environment that mimic estrogen. They're estrogen mimickers, such as pesticides and all of these different different chemicals and endocrine disruptors that are in our water supply. So we want to make sure that we take care of that. We want to make sure that we support the liver, and supporting the liver by eating a lot of those cruciferous vegetables. Another thing is we want to support methylation, which is a fancy word, but basically the liver does certain things, and the liver, number one, it methylates, and it uses these B vitamins to help detoxify the system. So methylation is a part of detoxification. It's a part of removal of toxins, as well as there's other things that the liver does, other steps that the liver does to remove toxins. But methylation is one of the things that we want to address, and we want to address that by consuming in vitamin B12, folic acid, vitamin B6. These are all very important and essential to help the liver methylate and remove toxins. We also want to increase sulfur, and we want to increase sulfur through our diet. So whatever we can, as far as like onions and garlic and cruciferous vegetables, these are high in sulfur. These are high sulfur rich foods, and they help remove heavy metals out of the body through the intestines and the liver. So it all works together with the methylation and the sulfation, and then there's the glycination. These are all these different steps. But glycination, you can take L-glycine to help with glycination. That also helps the liver and supports the liver. Now, there are also some natural foods that you can eat, and herbs. Rosemary, dandelion, these are excellent for supporting the liver. And then milk thistle is an excellent herb to actually help support liver function and help support the healing of the liver. So liver is very important. And then, of course, we come to the kidneys. We want to make sure that our kidneys are filtering properly and our kidneys are removing toxins. So things that help support the kidneys, parsley is excellent for kidneys. Also, adaptogenic herbs are great for the kidneys. Your ginseng, your ashwagandha, your rhodiola. These are all very effective for the kidneys and the adrenals that are involved with the fibromyalgia. So if you can do all of these things and incorporate this whole system together, getting the brain to rewire, removing and identifying the triggers, removing the triggers, supporting whatever is triggering just by using the antidote. If it's toxins, if it's foods, if it's a variety of different things, then we want to use all of these measures. And once we do all of that and restore the own body's biochemistry properly and support that detoxification system of the body, we're going to be way ahead of the game. And we're going to help overcome what we're going through. Please hit that like button and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell notification. That's going to help us notify you whenever we have some type of video that's coming your way, and it's going to be beneficial to helping you naturally. So anyway, I appreciate doing this video for you, and I want to thank you for watching and staying in tune. I'm Dr. Tony Salamay, and I want to wish you a blessed day.